Welcome to the meeting point. My name is Michael Ikogo. INEC, in compliance with Section 32(1) of the Electoral Act 2022, on Tuesday, 20th September, published the final list of candidates validly nominated by political parties for the 2023 national elections, which comprise of the presidential, senatorial, and federal constituencies. The Commission published the names of the 36 presidential and vice presidential, as well as the National Assembly candidates of the 18 political parties. The final list of governorship and state assemblies will be published on October 4, 2022. In line with the provisions of Section 94(1) of the Electoral Act 2022, as amended, public campaigns will officially commence on 28 September 2022. This campaign will be for national elections, while that of the governorship and House assemblies will kick off after the final list of the candidates is released. This brings us to the topic of today's discussion: 2023 election. Focus on presidential campaign. I have in the studio two gentlemen to help us do justice to today's topic. By my immediate left is Comrade Kenneth Obieh. He is the chairman, Nigerian Union of Journalists, State Minister of Information, Chapel. Ken, you are welcome.
Thank you.
I also have in the studio a civil society man, citizen Zika, Chima.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Zika, you are conversant with what is happening in the political atmosphere in Nigeria.
Yes.
Vis-a-vis the mobilization by the supporters of various political parties and their principals.
Yes.
Issues regarding campaign of calumny, name calling, character assassination, and so many other unpredictable things we are seeing, even when the campaigns have not started. What is your take on that?
Thank you for the question. It's rather sad that in our society here, campaign is taken like a warfare. If we realize that politics is supposed to be the struggle for positions in political leadership and for the good of the society, it is not something that we should begin to assassinate the character of those we consider our opponents. We are all players in the game, and every person should be seen to be working towards a common goal. What is the common goal? Making the society better, seeking the people's vote, so that at the end of the day you are able to get this thing on the basis of your campaign promises. But what you see today is denying the electorate the opportunity, the privilege to get to understand the real issues that you have. What are those basic things you intend to do? That is hardly what we see. Character assassination and calumny, all manners of histrionics, vitriol, and abuses. And you ask yourself, is politics really a warfare? No, it is not. It is the struggle for power. And the struggle for power is present your manifesto, present what you intend to do, present how you intend to strategize and change the situation as it is today, because we all know that in the prevailing situation, things are really not what people expected. The change we are promised is actually not the change for the good. People are disappointed, and Nigerians are looking forward to people who are going to discuss issues, people who have come because they have seen from outside those limitations, inadequacies that the government in power have been able to inflict on the people, and all we want is good governance. So when candidates, presidential candidates, come around and all you hear are banters and all you hear are trolls and what have you, it begins to make you wonder. Nigerians want to know, if you are seeking presidential power, for God's sake, we want to know, what are those things that are wrong with the present system that you want to change? Because we are not coming to continue with this trend that is so unfortunate, that has created so much baggage of misfortunes. People want to get away from the inferno, and so what they want is something that will recreate the aspirations of Nigerians in what society should be for good and in their interest. And so, for me, any presidential candidate or any political party that comes out to begin to malign the characters or whatever of individuals and whatever, what it means is that you have nothing really substantial to give. You are trying to make up with what is not needed. What the people want to hear. You can see insecurity, you can see low life, the people, you can see our reputation is so smeared outside the country. All of these things, how do you intend to correct all of these things? How do you intend to provide food for Nigerians? How do you intend to better the infrastructure? How do you intend to raise the bar as far as livelihood is concerned? These are the things people want to hear. That somebody, if the political party in its wisdom, if the respective political parties in their wisdom have decided that so person is the candidate, then let us take it that the person is the best qualified based on their parameters. And so the issue of maligning, because there is no way there's nothing you are going to say about somebody that is going to make the person get disqualified. INEC has already accepted the person is the candidate. So all of these things about personality and character assassinations will not count. What will count is, what are you going to do differently to take Nigeria away from this path of perdition onto the path of El Dorado? That is what Nigerians want to know. And so let us do away. For me, a man who comes and begins to throw all manners of vitriol on people, you do not have what it takes to canvass and to campaign for the presidential seat. There is so much that whoever that is coming to power in 2023 will be required to do. Nigerians have seen their worst days, and so in 2023, what people are expecting are those basic things that will take us away from this doldrum and take us to the place where happiness will be well harvested.
Thank you very much for that foundation. Ken Obieh, from what Zika said, you will agree with me that campaign have not really started officially. All the ones who are had now is just if it were countries where their laws prevail, majority of them would have gone in jail for infringing on the provisions of the Electoral Act. Before the declaration of campaign, you are already campaigning, you tell me it's another word, mobilization and all that.
Consultation.
But when you gather, you call it consultation, but when you gather, you begin to sing praises of the candidates that you are supporting. That is happening in almost all the political parties, which is against the Electoral Act. But now that we are approaching the official kickoff for presidential and national campaigns, don't you think that we'll have the worst of campaigns based on what we have seen prior to the official declaration?
For me, I want to thank you for this question. Election naturally is the hope of the common man. We should not rule the heart. That is what democracy is all about. That the best candidate who is competent and that we have seen that is credible should fill the positions. And every candidate that intends to come out, and he has seen himself that he might not be capable, he's seen the other candidate as so much competent than him, what will he do? He will start maligning. They will start bringing issues that are not relevant. They will start bringing those, instead of telling the people issues. Because now what we need is not whether Okowa is good, Atiku is not good, Tinubu is this, Obieh is this. As you come out, tell us you want to address the security issues in Nigeria. Because the way we find ourselves now in the country, I don't believe that we can go anywhere. At least the best security we have now in Nigeria, if you want to go to anywhere, is at least is a plane. Because that is the best security. We should, and any presidential candidate coming should tell us how they want to resolve these insecurity issues. Kidnapping, ritualists, bandit, everywhere. They should tell us about the economy issues. Nowadays, a lot of persons cannot even feed for one to take a square meal a day. It is difficult. How are they going to solve that matter? They should be giving us issues that will make Nigerians be willing to vote for that candidate. They should be providing issues that causing rancor among themselves. We know the election, the campaign will start in earnest, but I will encourage all presidential candidates or anybody contending for any position should tell us the reason why we should vote you. Why that my voter's card should be used for you. And those reasons should be properly given to us. We should be convinced. But however, I still know that Nigerians were vulnerable. But however, Nigerians, we should know that the coming election determines where Nigeria is going. So we should hold all candidates accountable for the issues they are telling us. And so that we can hold them and say, you have said this and you have not done it. So we encourage these candidates that are coming because there are so many issues. And we want to encourage them, whether they are infighting in your parties or not, come out as a body and tell us what you will do for Nigeria in the next 4 years. Election is not far from today. 25th of February, we'll be casting our vote. 28th of September, campaign will start. So many issues will come up. But one again, this, even though they are telling us issues, are they genuine issues? We have gotten so many presidential candidates before now. They realized so many issues. But at the end of the day, they were not able to keep to them. They said, from this to this, we'll give you this. From this to this, we'll give you. When they came on board, those issues were not even followed. So they were saying, I was not the one that said it, this said this said it. So we need to go back to our drawing board as electorate to see that if these candidates, what they're even telling us are genuine, they will keep to it. So these are part of the issues we also need to look into.
Yeah. Okay, Zika, I read today how Reno Omokri was comparing Obieh's certificate to his own receptionist, that his own receptionist certificate is better than Obieh's certificate. In Ukraine today, the president, I don't know the qualification anyway, the president of Ukraine today, that is holding Russia to the jugular, is a comedian. That will not happen in Nigeria. Because we are looking at paper qualification rather than the competence of the individual that is concerned. The Tinubu campaign is mocking Atiku campaign organization over the crisis in the PDP, while PDP is also mocking Tinubu over his health
challenges.
Yeah, I can't understand where we are going to. Don't you think it is high time we begin to, take these politicians to the drawing board to dissect whether they really mean business or they are here to support their money and go away?
Reno Omokri, for me, I see him as a clown. I see him as somebody that suffers crass ignorance. And I see him as somebody who is overreaching his luck and relevance. It's not about P2B for me. He has always spoken very unguardedly on national issues. I agree that he served under President Goodluck Jonathan, but whatever he says, we have the profile of all the presidential candidates, their educational profile and qualifications and what have you. And then if he has any issues with the qualification of whoever, he is free as an individual. He is a lawyer, as he claims, to go to court, you know. But one thing I know is that all the candidates, is it Atiku, is it Kachiku, is it Tinubu, all of them, what they submitted to INEC qualified them for the position they are aspiring to today. And so that is settled. Whatever any person has, you know, Atiku attended ABU, Obieh attended UNN, Tinubu attended Chicago University, and so on and so forth. So whatever you want to, you go and question that with the universities they have claimed. If you are able to come out with something that can place you in a position to contest that in the law court, so be it. But for me, we have gone past that stage. And so the stage we are going into now is the stage of looking at the critical ingredients that are being brought before us by these candidates. The candidates should be telling Nigerians how they want to deal with insecurity, how they don't want to deal with education, how they want to deal with our foreign policy, how they want to deal with unemployment that is prevalent everywhere, how they want to deal with interest rates, how they want to deal with attracting FDI, foreign direct investment, how to deal with industrialization. Those are the basic things. Infrastructure for me is something that we should have gone past years ago. It's unfortunate that after how many years we are still talking about providing roads. That is the most pedestrian level of development. It is when a country has just gotten independence 5-10 years that you are talking about providing roads. Because even the days of colonial master, there were roads. They accessed some of these roads. So how come that over 60 years or so after, we are still talking about providing road? Somebody does a road of 2 kilometers and you invite people from wherever to come and commission it. It is preposterous for me. That shouldn't hold sway. We should get beyond that level to a macroeconomic level where we should be looking at the larger picture. That is what we should be. So for me, individual opinions won't count. Nigerians are very hopeful that we have seen our worst days, and therefore every person has become very conscious, well conscientized by the misfortunes that have befallen them these past years. I'm not excusing anybody. It's not even the PDP, it's not even the APC, because I know that former chairman of PDP, Secondus, came and apologized to Nigeria for the atrocities they committed against Nigerians. If they didn't do any wrong, they will come. The same thing with this government. And so, if we are coming on board under any of the political parties, including these two political parties, you should be telling us what you want to do differently, that Nigerians will now be convinced to say, okay, we were not fortunate enough with the past, but we want to see if you are starting on a clean slate, this much you want to do, let us take you for your word and cast our vote for you. Otherwise, no person is praying that we have to go through this alley again, because indeed I'm not too sure that Nigerians' patience will not snap if this kind of thing repeats itself in the next even 2 years. So we're looking forward to an elevation of the standard of living of Nigerians. We're looking forward to a situation where government will not be for those in power, government will be for those, the ordinary people. I want to tell you, the perquisites of office should not be the attraction to think that the common people don't matter. They are actually the reason why you are there. Because whoever that earns so little and pays tax is contributing to making the society better. So it is expected, supposedly. But when that does not happen, of course, people have a right to question, how come that in spite of all the promises, this is not happening? And so issues are going to be raised, issues are going to be discussed. We are not going to look at the personalities anymore, because there is nothing you are going to do as it is today that is going to make any of the candidates disqualified. So deal with what they have to offer. And that is what is important. Yes.
Again, like you said earlier on, presidential candidates have come with so many promises that they never met, including the one presently at the national level, and even the one before them. As it stands today, we have about 3 major political parties now that Nigerians are focusing on. Well, I'm not saying the other ones are not relevant, but the presence of some of them, I can't feed them. Even the newspapers, in campaigns, nobody's hearing about them, and they are also in this race.
Yes.
Looking at the 3 major ones that everybody's focusing on: PDP, APC, and Labour Party, because of the new movement that is going on across the country, it shows that it's not going to be business as usual anymore. Because if you talk to 1 or 2 persons on the streets, they will tell that they are fed up with the situation. The same people we are seeing, including the new Labour Party we are talking about, all of them happened in government before now. What do you think they are going to bring in new? We know the problems of Nigeria: bad governance, bad road, insecurity, epileptic power situation, and all that. They should not be telling us the problem that we already know, because some of them are trying to whip up sentiment that government could not actualize this, government could not actualize this. Why not tell us that, this is what we are going to do? In 10 days, in 100 days, in 200 days, we are going to fix power problem. And these are the steps we are going to take to bring it to pass. Ken, what do you think we should, when we are engaging these people, tell them?
What you just said now took me somewhere else. I remember 2015, the party in power now gave us a line of direction. They were even giving us time frames of what they will do. And then a lot of us were tired of the PDP government. So we were looking at these people will change Nigeria to America because of what is already on ground. That time frame,
because they promise to make a dollar to 1 naira.
They said so many things. What I'm saying is this, because one, from what they said, we thought as they come on board, everything will change. I'm saying this because of you mentioned the Labour Party matter. Because one, we should not win one way or the other. The 2 major political parties will might be tired, but we also be careful with the word we say movement. Because now they have given us, these 2 are not working. We are looking at so people are saying they are looking at this. You should also look at it properly. Because for my first speech, I said it is not to give us promises and even give us the line, the direction of how you want to implement them. When you enter that position, things changed. A lot of them don't even look at those blueprints. I know the at least article already have a blueprint of what he wants to achieve. My covenant to the people, I believe so. If I'm not making a mistake,
with Nigeria.
Yes, with Nigeria. And I also believe Tinubu has something of such, and I believe Obieh has something of such. But we should be careful, because these 3 persons we mentioned, they've been in government, and they worked in different places in government. So what we need to do, we need to look at them critically and take our stand on issues. And even though we are taking our stand on issues, we also look at their precedents, what they've done before. And those things they've done, was it implementable? Because in all this, if we do not take the right decision, we will start from scratch.
Okay, you mentioned that 3 of them have won. The candidate of APC, the candidate of PDP, the candidate of
Labour Party
were in government before.
They were in government.
So we are saying we should open our eyes and look at them critically.
Yeah.
What, for the purpose of this program and our viewer, what are those things that the electorate should look out for?
Good.
In making the decision on who to vote for.
Good. First, one, the electorate should look out for one, integrity and competence. You should look at one, if the person has integrity. First of all, does the person have integrity? If the person has integrity, does he have the competence to deliver? Because one, you must have integrity, but the competence to deliver might not be there. Because one, if you have these 2 together, it will help you to understand that we need serious security. Nigeria is divided in the ethnic way and the religious way. But if you have integrity, you will not consider only your brother. You want to do it the way it is. Now Nigeria has been bastardized, that we don't even know who to believe and who to follow. Look at crimes nowadays. If you ask the small boy nowadays, he will say, "Now you dey feed me." You want to even correct the boy will say, "It's better to make her die." These are because of the situation is tough. In Nigeria today, by the day, people travel out of Nigeria because they are fed up of the system. The presidency is not working, and nobody is even ready to put things together. So we need a leader that has integrity and that has the competence to say, yes, I want to solve this security matter. You can imagine insecurity everywhere, and nobody is even willing to solve it. There was a day I heard that the president said he's tired of the situation, he's just waiting to leave power. It is not fair. Then if you as the number one is saying this, what will I be saying? It is just to pack my load if I have the opportunity to live to Canada.
I think what some of them lack is the willpower.
That is,
if you talk of confidence, they may have it. If you talk of integrity, some of them still have integrity.
Yeah.
But the willpower to take decisions and enforce. You understand?
Yeah.
How can you?
But you remember, sir? You remember when this government was coming on board? We looked at, sorry to say, Buhari as a saint, and because of his military background, because of his military background, that he can take care of this security and so on. Because even in the time of Jonathan, we were thinking Jonathan was a weakling, he was not able to do anything, and when this man comes on board, he will solve it. As Buhari entered, Buhari said the Minister of Defence should pack to the, at least should relocate to Sambisa. After some months, we had nothing again. The situation reoccurred. Now, I cannot be able to differentiate if the security now then is even worse. The situation now, then what has it done for the past 7 years? No, look at our economy.
If you say you can't differentiate whether it is worse now or,
yes,
or better then you are not following the trend in Nigeria.
No. What I'm saying is that
the level of kidnapping and ransom taking is higher now.
It has spread from the northern area to the southern area, and everybody is afraid. You don't even know whether I'm even afraid of you and you're afraid of me, because the situation now is tough for all of us.
Okay.
Now look at our economy. Look at the strike happening in ASU. It's as if we don't have leaders. Nobody is saying anything. The Minister of Education is saying this, the Minister of Labour is saying this, and the President gave directive that it was not obeyed, and we are living in a government that said they have direction for us to follow.
Okay, from where I can stop, what are those things we should be looking out for by the time the presidential campaign kicks off officially?
First of all, thank you for the question, but I'd like to say that the gullibility of Nigeria is the reason why the leaders have taken the masses for granted. If you follow what people promise you, you are not likely to arrive at the expected destination. What we are seeing today is the political class taking for granted the fragile nature of the citizenry. They are vulnerable. They are susceptible to manipulation. Otherwise, if the political class, if they have honor, and you get into power, and you are not delivering on the promises you have made, and it is becoming clear, even to the blind, that you are not acting in tune with some of the things for which you were voted in for, the honorable thing to do is to, step aside.
In Nigeria?
No, what I'm saying is, no, but what is honor when you don't do what is honorable?
Yeah.
What is honor when you can't do what is honorable? When you keep saying Nigeria, I keep asking myself, did it take God something different to create Nigerians? We are still humans like the Americans, like the Danes, like the Swiss, and what have you. It is because of the way the political class, they have been able to manipulate the citizens. You see, what is happening is capitalism taken too far. You create an atmosphere of hunger and make the people susceptible to manipulation. That is what is happening. And that is what they're taking advantage of. When they have stifled you to an extent that you are groaning, they throw a little for you. And it is then they can manipulate and tell you what they want. And you have no choice but to do that. But we have gotten to the crossroad as it is today. Let me tell you, the mass of Nigerian citizens, they have decided that they have to take their destinies in their hand to determine the next leadership. It could come from the existing political party, it could come from PDP, it could come from Labour, SDP, NNPP. But people are wiser now. In the past, the attitude of people to elections, the attitude was laissez-faire, lukewarm. Even on that day, you see some people playing draft and sitting in their houses. But suddenly, what we have gone through these past 4 years, people are beginning to ask themselves, if there is a follow-up in the same dimension of this thing for another 4 years, then, like Omar Odiko said, people might resort to eating, scavenging from the dustbin. Because I remember under Shagari when they told Omar Odiko that when they said that Nigerians were hungry and there was too much suffering, he said when you drive around Lagos, you don't see people picking food from the dustbins. So how can you say people are hungry? That is an insensitive response. So the political class need to come down from their high horse. Let them try and feel the pulse of the common people. Don't tell us what you cannot do. I agree that sometimes when you get into the position, you might be expecting to start the construction of the establishment of factories, and you get there, what you see might not be what will enable you to do that. But for God's sake, leadership without creativity is no leadership. You devise creative ways of maneuvering. You understand? That is what makes you a quality leader. We are not going to continue in this part of delusion, in this part of imagining that somebody has the pedigree. I don't care about pedigree. I want to look at who has been able to demonstrate leadership qualities, those tendencies to sympathize with the common people. Because I want to tell you, charity, absence of charity in leadership is the reason why the common people suffer a lot. When you detach yourself from the feelings of the common people, that is why you can allow ASU to remain on strike for 7 months, because you don't feel what the common people feel. You can always send your children to the best schools around. So for you, it is, and what you do is to assail us with some funny photographs of your children graduating in some of the elite universities abroad and what have you. That is the worst of leadership. A leader should be able to stay with the people. A leader should be able to live with the people. A leader should be able to suffer with the people. A leader should be able to eat with the people. Feel what they are feeling. It's not you living. This class stratification.
Drive the same road that they
drive the same road. Yeah, they drive and what have you. They're flying. They don't feel anything. And so when you even tell some people how bad certain places are, they say, thank God I'm not in a position to use that road. But for God's sake, what position are you if it was not made possible by the same people you have abandoned to suffer? No person can become president if it's not the electorate's vote. No person can become governor if it's not the electorate's vote. And so when you were able to bulldoze your way, thank God that the new electoral act will make it impossible for people to to manipulate the system.
You see what's happening in Oshuna?
Of course, yes. It's not going to be easy. People now know that the die is cast. And so what you do is what you expect to receive. Yes.
Okay, but Zika, I quite appreciate the position you have taken. That people will, it's not going to be business as usual.
Yes.
Because of the hunger and the hardship in town.
Yes.
In Nigeria, the electorates have so much soaked themselves in political manipulation that if it's not my party A, the candidate of party A, whether he's not capable to deliver, I will remain with him. And if it's party B, the candidate the members of that political party that is featuring Party B candidate will still remain with their candidate, whether it's good or bad. How are you going to change it to persuade them to look at the character of the individuals, the capacity of the individuals, and the credibility of the individuals?
Now, that reminds me of, that brings to this thing, the music of Fela Anikulapo Kuti. If you are seeing the path of perdition, and because of partisanship, you decide to remain on that path, it's only a tree that stays and wait for the train to crush it, or the bulldozer. You have seen enough, and you are able to envisage that lamentation lies ahead, agony lies ahead, misery lies ahead, and you say because of partisanship, you are going to vote for the same person. You have taken the path of perdition, and do not complain when that happens on you. But I want to say that, because you started by, why are we hammering on just some of these mega parties? You know, it's unfortunate. If you go to Britain, UK for example, there are more than 50 political parties. But how many of them do you hear? The Conservative and this other one. In America, you hear of the Democratic and the Republican. You hardly hear of other ones. And there are more than 40 or so in America. It is because in Nigeria, when you assume position of authority on the platform of any political party, you begin to assert your authority, and you begin to break the structures of other parties. You make it difficult. And Nigeria, because of hunger, people go to where their bread will be buttered. So
how are you going to persuade them now to look at integrity?
The way to persuade them is...
That's my fear.
Yes. Now let me tell you. Look at the candidates who has stuck to whatever he has said in the past. Study their past. Study their rules in the past. Whatever position, whether it is local government chairmanship, whether it is Senate, whatever, you'll be able to pick something that gives a message of the person's integrity, capacity, capability, and humanitarianism. You understand? Humanity, so to say. So when you see some of these things, you will begin to say, okay, we could try him. Because a matter of, it is within the realm of speculation. There is nothing you are doing for certainty that is the way it's going to turn out. Because whoever you vote for, you are only going to rely on God to ensure that those things you hope for will come to be. But we have also seen a few of them who, at their levels of performance at the various, whatever position they have occupied, they have shown integrity, they have shown leadership, they have shown the pathway that are enviable, they have shown the creativity to be able to devise leadership opportunities. Because when you occupy a position and you don't inspire the people, they won't be creative. When the leader is inspiring, what it means is that every person will toe the line. Nigeria is simply looking for a leader who is going to, like I always say here, who is going to show the light. Showing the light doesn't mean you drop the torch and you walk away. You hold the torch, you point the direction, and people will follow. And they see that they are heading to El Dorado, the oasis in the desert. That is what we want to see. So, for me, Nigerians should look forward to a man who is going to take us out of the doldrum. One, insecurity. How are you going to tackle it? And let me tell you why some people have been hamstrung. The present leadership. Part of the reasons why this thing has dragged on for a long time is because there are many culpable people, perhaps in the corridors of power. Okay,
Zika, I think it's time we open up the line for our viewer to make contribution. The number to call is 0812-106-9621. The number again is 0812-106-9621. And the second number is 0807-843-4277. You can call to make your contribution, and as we progress on this program. Ken, there's one major challenge I've also seen. ethnicity, religion, and hello? Good evening. Your name and location, please. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I want to thank everybody seated there, especially in the center. I want to follow your program.
Thank you, sir.
Beautiful and good topical issues. And I want to learn my own voice and place my card on your table, sir. You people are so economically rich. When you started here, you were looking at for the discussion without how it is for them to discuss issues, they should speak that the people who are not should present their facts and manifestos. But that got towards the middle, they started debating to looking at antecedents and precedents. I think we've come way behind or beyond issue of manifesto because their manifestos in the beginning have failed. Let it see through what Pastor said, life. Buhari said security. So all their thought they did not work. Yeah, I said you are afraid, especially like media stations, is this fact. You people should be their histories. Publish it, discuss it for us, let us know about not what they are going to say. Read their histories like someone is doing. Open their whatever nakedness, let us know here. For instance, in recent times, some of them, sorry I want to be blunt, people were captured on media shaking. We want to know about this. We want to look at the medical certificates. The same thing about the article. He has been there before. His principal said it was good. Please, let us hear this thing. That and great. And let us not just stop painting all these things. When you are aware of them, that's someone like me. There are still some people that are ignorant. There's nothing that is ignorant. We need you people to investigative journalism. Open up and let us know what issue of manifesto. And let us not take us anywhere in Nigeria. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. At least we have dealt on this matter.
Hello? Hello, yeah.
Good evening.
Give me your name and location, please.
I'm Peter from
Go ahead.
my own, I'm learning, I'm listening to the program, and I'm learning a lot so that I will know who have made the same mistake I made in 2015 and also in 2019. You know, this conversation is building us and that is giving us a direction. If you those people are coming up, as the campaign is start approaching, you see whether it is the national chairman or the national whatever call them, spokesman. They are looking at them, they are picking up, you know, the mistakes that some people have using that as a case study to convince that they are having to show that we were talking of the habit of things and or whatever. If you can, if you don't think that I want to take that, if you want to go take that, it with this critical condition. So I'm so much happy that, and I believe this kind of program, they should keep it online so that many people will listen to getting back up something. What the church are saying is very, very vital that when I need to listen to so that they will not make the same mistake. This is not what they call the support by picking that presenting to you say that people feel or certificate or whatever or qualification to say that they have a picked on and put us where we belong. We are not going to belong to whatever we have so far in the past anymore. And after Nigeria, like me, I will tell you who is going to be my next president in 2022. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So the first caller, Solomon, said, like so is, you know, so is a presidential candidate.
Yes.
And he will do anything within his past to ensure that he also projects himself.
Yes.
You understand? So by the time people also begin to tell you what is behind him too, you will be surprised.
You'll be surprised.
So, Ken, I was asking about the issue of ethnicity, religiosity, and regional divide.
Yeah.
How can he help us in this coming election?
He can
because
help.
our founding fathers made us understand that we must try as much as we can to defend one Nigeria. And by the time you are telling me I'm an Igbo man, I'm a Yoruba man, I cannot vote for an Igbo man. I'm an Isoko man, I cannot vote for Shekiri man. I'm an Hausa man, I can't vote for Yoruba man. It becomes a problem. By the time you say it into the mind of other younger ones, they will grow with it, and the divide, the curve will continue to widen. So what is your take, and how can we curb that?
My take on that is that, thank God, as I said initially, election determines a democratic system, and that is what we enjoy today. Before now, we remember Nnamdi Azikiwe, we remember Awolowo, we remember Ahmadu Bello. These were the people that were trying to bring unity and sanity to the system. And when they were forming government before now, they consider the unity of the people. They also see to it that peace should reign among the people. And I believe every candidate that is coming out now should consider that. I know some political parties, they did not consider religion, they did not consider ethnicity, they did not. But however, we as electorate should look at that. And that is why some of the political parties now are even trying to tell people now that they are not looking at ethnicity issue, they are not looking at religious issue, they are looking at competence. But we as electorate should want to know that we should look at it. And the presidential candidate
look at it to hype it or to discourage it.
No, we as electorate,
yes,
we should look at it to see that if any of those candidates does not promote unity or promote peace or try to bring Nigerians together, those candidates should not be voted for. I will not cast my vote for a candidate that is already biased in his manifesto or his design of his activities. Automatically, is leading Nigerians back to the olden days. A candidate should be a candidate that have Nigerians at heart, that want to unify Nigeria. That candidate, at least we should be looking at that candidate. His decisions, his body language, his those within him, his cabinet, his style, and his willingness. We should be looking at those things because one, if we did not consider that Christianity and Islamism, they are 50-50 in Nigeria, you have made a mistake. If we did not consider that the north is equal to the south in Nigeria, you have made a strong blunder on that ground. And if you did not consider that the common man is equal to that wealthy man, you have made a mistake in Nigeria. If you did not consider that the Nigerian economy is so bastardized, you are making a mistake. If you did not consider that what we find ourselves today, that we need industries that will revamp the system, you are making a mistake. Okay. So these are issues sometimes we as Nigerians should look, and the electorate, even though they have taken their stand or they already have a blueprint, they can reposition those blueprints. They can look at it again and add the interest of Nigeria. Yes, they might not win this election.
Zika, I'll still bring the question to you, because my major concern is the kind of division that we have now. Before now, we used to have people living in Kano. They built their houses there, they do their trade there, they school there, they do everything there. And when they are sharing whatever they are sharing, nobody talks about you are from Sokoto, you are from Kano, you are from Delta. But that the political class we have today, how divided us more than we had in the, let me say, this 70s and 80s, yes, because of their own pecuniary gain. That by the time we have this division, it may favor us because we are now at the hem of our friend. So should we continue to promote division on ethnic line, religious line, or regional line?
It is in the interest of Nigeria for the candidates and for the political parties to de-emphasize where you come from, the religion you belong, and whatever tribe. Nigeria is not interested in who your God is, what section you come from. That is what has taken us this back. And I want to tell you something. Under this very government, the dichotomy along religious line, ethnic line, has been so emphasized to the extent that even though it started in somewhat insignificant manner under the PDP era, when Zamfara introduced Sharia, I don't see how you can locate that in the Nigerian constitution, that a state can adopt a religion and impose it on everybody, oblivious of whatever faith. That was part of the things that started the balkanization of Nigeria along religious lines and what have you. If you go to Kano State, why do you have Hizbah that lords it over even Christians in the same state? You run a security agency that exercises more power than the Nigerian police force in a state. For example, it's in the papers. Katsina State now allows the vigilante to carry AK-47, and you are saying where the heat is most, Benue, Taraba, you are not going to grant them. So these are some of the. So it has been so.
I cannot look cried out today.
Yes, that is going to seek.
Should not carry. Should not be a license to carry.
What am I saying? You don't treat people, in certain preferential manners and you expect to have unity. Those are the cases, obvious cases of unity. And when you show obvious sentiment in protecting certain religion, certain distinct, then other people are bound to find a way around it. So if you're a leader, you have to take it upon yourself to assume that you are a Nigerian before you are a Christian. You are a Nigerian before you are a Muslim. You are a Nigerian before you are a Hausa, or you are Igbo, Ijo, or whatever. If you see yourself in that light, what it means is that at the federal level, we should de-emphasize what religion in the forms that we feel. That should be done away with. It is not necessary. If we want the unity of this country, when people are accessing federal opportunities, be it funds, be it employment, be it industrialization certificate or licenses or whatever, we should emphasize our religion. We should emphasize tribe. Until that is done, people will begin to think that. I want to tell you something. How many times have you seen people from the far north putting on, even when they are coming to, putting on southern dress because they want to appease or pacify certain sentiments, like what our people from the south, anytime they have even a federal function, you see some people wearing agbada, you want to look like this thing. All these are because some people want to be seen to be a friend of this so that they can enjoy certain privileges. But if every person is seen as equal before the law on the basis of religion, this thing, what it means is that display the fact that you are an Igbo, display the fact that you are Yoruba, display the fact that you are this thing. It does not count. What counts is what are you bringing to the table for the good of Nigeria. We all have our cultural identities, so we should not begin to hide because we want to pacify or appease certain persons. So what am I saying? Religion becomes an issue because government has made it an issue at government level. Leave religion for it. Even when, for example, APC they said Muslim, it would not have mattered until now. People have seen that even with the war with Boko Haram and all of these things, they all seem to center around religion. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Otherwise, the question you will ask yourself also is, of all the pastors, reverend fathers, and what have you, how many imams have they kidnapped? How many imams have they abducted? If you will say it's not along religious this thing, So these are some of the questions we need to ask. So even when you look at ASU, sometimes you ask yourself, are we trying to marry government decision with the request of Boko Haram, who said there should be no Western education? Because when government has dilly-dallied for as long as 7 months, and it doesn't look like
they are ready,
we are getting a headway, people are free to radically believe anything. And some of the things could be, okay, who knows whether these people are holding the government by the truth, that what we want is what must be done. Because that is what any person is free to think it is. Otherwise, what is the reason for schools being out of this thing for years, for so long?
But my concern is there's no doubt that politicians have really played on that, really hype it to the extent that people now are saying, this is my brother, this one is not my brother, when we're one Nigerians. Yeah. How can we get out of it, find a solution to it, to discourage that?
The way to get out of it is, I had Atiku Abubakar. They addressed him as Alhaji, and he said, no, I'm not Alhaji. I wouldn't know whether it was for political strategic reason, because I know that all these years he has always been Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. And what it means is that at the mention of Alhaji, whoever, but you know the person is a Muslim. You also get to know that certain people believe if they pander to the whims and caprices of certain persons on the basis of religion, they will get certain favors. So what we are saying is, Nigerians should not look at a candidate on the basis of religion. Nigerians should not look at a candidate on the basis of his tribe. Nigerians should not look at a candidate on the basis of, his culture. When you are seeking presidential position, people should be looking at how are you going to be an all-inclusive leadership pivot. That is what is important. We are going to de-emphasize that. And how do you de-emphasize that? As they campaign to us, let us get to hear them. But the media owes it a responsibility to the people to ask critical questions. I don't know where I'm saying. For example, I've not seen any media house like Atiku has been invited, Obieh has been invited, Kachiku has been invited, Kwakwanso. I've not seen any media house that has invited Tinubu so far. If people are questioning the health status, it is not just for the spokespeople, for the spokespersons, to keep feeding us with what they want to say. Nigerians want to see how much of articulation in delivering whatever he's going to tell Nigerians. Nigerians want to see how strong is he. If they are going to ask presidential candidates to stand for 1 hour to be able to address, like if they are going to have manifesto night or whatever, can the candidates stand for 1 hour, 30 minutes, and so on? Those are the things people need to know. Because I want to tell you something. A healthy, mental state functions better in a healthy body. And so we want to be able to have a president who is going to deliver on what he says. Otherwise, if you tell people, do what I do and not what do what I say and not what I do, that becomes a case of precept. People want to be able to see you showing the path that they will follow, And so I like what the first man who called from Ibuza said. It is critical that we raise issues about the personality profile of the presidential candidates. Is it Tinubu, is it Atiku, is it Obieh, and whatever? Let us critically, it's good for us to come here and talk about it. It's important, because that will help to illuminate and show the public what direction to follow. Because it's not just enough to come and say, I belong to PDP, I belong to a Labour Party, I belong to this. It's not just the case of railroading people simply because you have been in power for 16 years, you have been in power for, that is not going to follow. It is better to choose people who have not even been in power at all that will deliver than for people whom we have seen their past and we begin to question, is there going to be a departure from the ugly past? That is critical.
Okay. Really, as this campaign will start, we know that money will really exchange hands.
Yes.
Because you have mentioned here that Nigerians are hungry.
Yes.
And whatever you give to them will make them to really begin to behave in a manner that you desire them to behave. How are we going to treat money bags when they come to us during this campaign?
Thank God you're asking this question. Before now, within these weeks or months, we have heard of so many of these politicians that they've already bought cars, they've already prepared what to do, because one, we are vulnerables. And again, some of them also from privileged information that they also have bad boys, talks that they have also said to also cause mayhem in some strategic places within this period of the election. But however, as a electorate, we should note that when they come, if they give us, let's collect them, but let's vote our conscience for the competent persons. Because one, if they did not give us, they will still share, because it is our property. Those money they used to buy those things are for us. We should collect them, but we should also vote for our conscience, so that Nigeria will change. We should not vote for the wrong candidate, else we will still go back to square one. They prepared their small batch of rice, they prepared 5,000 naira, they prepared cars they will give to some stakeholders, they prepared some money they will give to some person at our expense. Because when they enter power, first thing they will do is to collect those money back to start their own investment again. So we should consider this as electorate. No matter the amount of money they have, let's collect them, but let's vote for our conscience.
Zika, I think there's a certain amount of money that's supposed to go into campaigns.
Yes.
By individual political parties. Are you...
The Nigerian political class is known for abuse of the law, abuse of the constitution. So I want to tell you, no person is going to follow that rule.
Let's take this. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, your name and location.
Good evening. Good evening, brother in Nigeria.
Thank you.
Good evening.
I greet you so much because I love what you people are discussing.
Thank you, sir.
And I thank my brother. The other one, I don't know his name. Brother, old man with you people.
No, it's a very young man. His name is Citizen Zika, Chima.
Yeah, I love your work very, very well.
But can we know your name, sir? Your name and location?
My name is Tonika Suemeka Christian Kerele from Koto Champum Way.
Okay.
In another government.
Okay.
I love your work today. As our brother said, we need the mind of people, the mind of masses. The way we don't need the people that we enter there shows that they are big too much, or they don't want to listen people, listen the problem of people, or the people that go to school, they don't see any work, anything doing, all of them, even this stopper, full everywhere, no job. They force people to go to school, but the people that go to school, no job. That's why if you go to school, no job, you turn over to, you can enter another group or secret corps or carry guns against shooting men because of money. I understand you. But this is the man who will be there and you look very sad. See that the people, poor people in the village, in the township, we see all over now.
Okay.
But the people that, if you be there, you hold the group that and look in our heart.
Okay.
Look very, very well. We use the power of Jesus Christ and the Father follow us. People will love that person. As our brother says, the person that the world touch straight to the point, people will follow that the person. Because we need a good person who will teach us what we need. That is why I put my question.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution.
Yeah.
You were saying something before the call came in. On
Money back.
money bags.
On the money bags, okay. The man who is hungry today, what he requires to get out of hunger is not the pittance or the handout that is given by anybody. It is the person who can empower him, provide an enabling environment for him to be able to thrive, given his abilities and his skills. And so when people throw money at you, the first thing I want you to consider is this man is coming here to steal, to abuse that office. People cannot give you money if they have something to sell. What they need to do is to convince you by their word of mouth and by the practical evidence, either from the time they have ruled in the past or whatever. Tell us some of the things you did that stands you out. You know, people, transparency. You can watch sometimes when we talk about integrity is a personal attribute. Transparency is the way you are perceived by the public. And so we ask a question: how many people have demonstrated this transparency such that when we entrust this amount of money, it will be judiciously used for the good and for the purpose it was meant for? This is critical, because when you talk about integrity also means that when somebody wants to spend 200 naira, he could spend 20 naira on what will concern the people and raise invoices as evidence on other things that do not really impact on the people. That will also be counted as integrity, because as long as you do not know that 180 has been spread for some other things that do not, you see that integrity. But transparency is the perception, what the people have seen that the 200 was used for. And so I believe that Nigerians have woken up. It's unfortunate that the government of the day has not been very, very fair to young and energetic Nigerians. We see it every day. Police, the moment you are young, you drive a flashy car and perhaps you have dread and whatever. These are all fashion. We see them all over the place. You become a target. They screen you. They do whatever to just, something must be found against you. But for God's sake, somebody has left school. Somebody has gone to school, came out of school, and does not have a job. Are you expecting that the family will keep feeding? I'm not saying whatever that is illegal is right, but for God's sake, there are a lot of things. There are billions that are found within the ICT space that people are taking advantage of. Big people all over the world. There are millionaires in Nigeria who became millionaires, highly respected, because they are able to find opportunities in ICT, in the internet, and make use of them. All these are approved this thing. So how come that when a man is young, he's 20 and what have you, all you do is he must be a Yahoo, but he must be, it doesn't really follow. If you can't find anything to prosecute somebody, there is no reason to persecute that person. That is just it. So for the money bags, when they come to you, let it be clear. Don't forget that only recently a woman rejected the huge amount of money that was given to her in Anambra State.
Yes.
And she was given an award, and the government gave her 1 million naira to show, so that it would be something that others will emulate. Because if she had collected the 5,000 or whatever she was given, that cannot cook more than a pot of soup or two, and for the rest of 4 years, she will begin to suffer. And people have reached that level now.
Possible 8 years.
If possible 8 years, because no person just goes into 4 years and comes out, you know. So let us de-emphasize this money thing.
The financialization of the campaign and the election.
Let's take this call. Hello? Your name and location, please. Okay. Thank you, Obieh. Zika, time is not on our side. Your final word before I come to Obieh, so that we can handle it.
Yes. The elections are about coming, and we are going to hear a lot of sweet things. Look beyond the smoke. Look beyond what you are told. Look at what is feasible. Look at what is practicable. Don't let somebody promise you residence in heaven that you know is not possible. Don't forget that under the present administration, there's already so much economic challenge, and the whoever that is coming in is going to be somebody that must have the creativity to be able to maneuver and recreate our economic system. Nigeria is in a quandary. Nigeria is in dire straits, and it takes educated, competent, and transparent person to be able to get us off from where we are. That is the only thing. And so, open your eyes, vote according to your conscience, not according to what is offered to you. That is very critical.
Thank you very much. Kenneth?
Yeah, I want to tell the candidate that as they come out to address us, they should have behind them the issue of a good monetary policy to guide us. They should consider the wage increase. They should consider industrialization. They should also consider that people, that the small, medium, at least they need loans to run their business, they need palliatives, and employment is on the increase. They should see how people should be engaged. And when a lot of persons are engaged, insecurity will be a thing of the past. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Kenneth Obieh, for your contribution to the success of today's episode of The Meeting Point.
Thank you.
Citizen Zika, Chima, I also want to thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
You have heard from our guests today. Ensure that you critically engage the candidates of the various political parties and extract commitment from them. My name is Michael Ikogo. Join us same time, Monday.